A few years ago, Harry Clark was chainsawing a tree after some storm damage in March up at his drive-in theater, which he owned with his wife Laura, called the Cherry Bowl Drive-In. Some of you may know it, up in Traverse City. And the limb came down and crashed onto Harry's neck and broke his neck about here. Harry spent a couple months up at our partner's Munson Medical Center in the intensive care unit and then came to Mary Free Bed. And after about a week, his wife, Laura, asked if she could see me. And I gladly accepted. And so after a long day, I entered the quiet of their room. I want our team to know I washed in, of course, and I washed out. Yeah, I knew somebody would appreciate that. Anyway, what we do at Mary Free Bed is we always get down at someone's eye level out of a showing of respect and friendship, and he was in bed. He couldn't move any part of his body at all except his eyes. And so I positioned myself down where he could see me, and Laura spoke the first words. And she said, "Kent, what we want to know is how do you get every single person that we've come into contact with to be so kind?" And I said, "I hear that a lot. Tell me the names so that I can thank them." And she said, no, I'm serious. From physicians to housekeepers, everybody treats us like they love us. They're just constantly, it's the little things, she said. It's the little things. And before I could say anything else, Harry spoke up. And Harry had just a little bit of spinal cord left, so he could barely breathe. He was on a ventilator at night. And Harry said, he said, "Kent, what she's trying to tell you is that this place is amazing." He said, "As the leader, how do you get everybody to do it all the time, consistently?" And I said, "I don't. They do." And right then, Kelly, her nurse, Kelly, our nurse, walked in and she said, Harry said, Kelly loves me." And she said, "Oh, you're just showing off for Kent." She said, "But Harry, you know that I do love you. It's true." And so I could finally reply, and I said, "This is how we roll here." I said, "They know that I desperately care for them, all of our staff. They know that I desperately care for them. They know that all our leaders desperately care for them. And as a result of that, they have the courage to do whatever they feel in their heart is the right thing for you at the right time. And we let them do it. So they have the courage to do it. And because of that, they do extraordinarily creative things. And I hope you've experienced that." And Harry, I'll never forget, Harry said to me, he said, "Okay." He said, "Why would we limit the ones we love?" That was his last comment to me. Why would we limit the ones we love? Tonight I want to talk about culture. Very different from anything I've ever talked about. Don't want to throw any statistics at you. Let me just ask you this question. Do you love someone? Well, of course you do. I know that. But how do you know it? I mean, does it happen all at once? When did it first happen? Can you measure it? Can you quantify it? Did you love someone all at once? Was it like a big bang, or did it happen over a period of time? And why? Why do you love that person? Is it what they did for you? Or is it a lot of little things? Little inconsequential things that over time, in and of themselves don't matter very much, but together matter a whole lot? Like taking a moment to listen when you didn't have a moment to give, or making eye contact and then adding a smile, like greeting you in a way that made you feel special, or asking you about you, or praising you for being you. Isn't that how relationships work, right? It's not the first smile or eye contact. It's not the first time someone shows you an interest in you. It's the 10th or it's the 100th, right? And the more you feel it, the more secure and valued and trusted and creative and motivated you become, right? And in return, we do anything for that person. We trust them. Knowing that we can count on them, that gives us the courage, and you want to live up to their expectations. At least I do. And you respond in kind, right? So those are the relationships that we foster in life. It's the people around us who love us and care about us and believe in us. And when we have those kind of relationships, we will find the courage to do the right thing, even extraordinary things. And when we do that, we inspire others in the organization to follow suit. Thank you. Any idea why people last year came from 1/4 of all of the United States to Mary Free Bed? 1/4 of all the states in the country. And why have Mary Free Bed's programs grown between 400 and 700% in the last 8 years? And why will they continue to grow at a rate of 400 to 700% in the next 8 years? What's in a reputation that would warrant that? My good friend Joan Budden and I have lunch once in a while. She sat down one day and she said, "What is it? What's the secret sauce about the culture at Mary Free Bed that people talk about all the time? Is it in the field of rehabilitation, super specialized programs like we have, research, specialized skills, nationwide education that we're doing for others, world breakthroughs, we got some of those going on? Or is it that our physicians come from some of the leading training centers in the country? I just interviewed a person from Harvard the other day who wants to come to Mary Free Bed. It helps that his wife is from Grand Rapids. Okay. Well, all that's fine and dandy, but it doesn't explain the reason. That's not why. The reputation doesn't come from that. In fact, I always ask our new employees on the first day, I say, "Why are you here? Why did you choose us?" And they say, "Because I can walk down an aisle at a Meijer. I just did this." And I said, "Hey, I'm considering working at Mary Free Bed, and I might get a job there." And 5 people come up and tell me their story. 5 people will come up and tell me their story, and they want everybody to know about it. So that's a kind of wow factor that only comes from one thing. It comes from love that's poured into patients and families and the extraordinary lengths that our staff will go without needing to ask permission first. So was Harry right about leadership? I mean, does it have anything to do with this? The problem, I think, in society is that we treat leadership like something that you should be born with. Or maybe it's some knowledge that you can be taught. You go away to an offsite, you get a certificate, and voila, you're a leader. But we all know it doesn't work that way, right? It just doesn't. So leadership requires, above all else, love and empathy for every human being, no matter what, and no matter whom. If you don't have it or you don't show it, then I don't think you can be a good leader. It's that love and empathy. Great love and high expectation. This is what I grew up with. Those of you who have met this 4'10", 90-year-old powerhouse sitting down here at table 7 right here. That's where I learned it. And she knows, as do many of you, that none of us are perfect, right? We don't expect our staff to be perfect. Don't expect anybody perfect. I fall down all the time. I personally know about 1,300 of our team members, but I would tell you that I'm ashamed of that because we have twice that number throughout the state. And I literally walk in shame that I don't know every one of them. Why? Why do I want to know them? Because I want them to know that I desperately care about them. Why is that so important that I desperately care about them? Because they need to pass it on. I desperately care for all our leaders, too. So I instill in them that same love and encouragement constantly, daily, giving them the courage and the resources so that they can in turn, turn to their folks, their teams, and desperately care for them too, and give them the same resources so that they can have the same courage in turning to their teams. And on it goes, all the way to patients. They in turn do the same for our patients, and that is Mary Free Bed's secret sauce. When I explained it to Joan that day, I explained it in about a little bit of soundbite. I didn't take this much time. But it is, at the end of the day, our patients respond to that. They respond psychologically, spiritually, socially, as well as physically. And what comes of that love? Courage, right? Courage. Only secure and loved leaders and team members have that kind of courage. It's the courage to do the right thing in the face of overwhelming odds and pressure. And what does all that lead to? Best patient outcomes in rehabilitation in the United States as ranked by third-party databases at Mary Free Bed. 99th. Our PEDS team is amazing. 99th percentile patient satisfaction. 99th percentile. I said it last year. 25. Press Ganey measures this in 2,500 hospitals and many of our programs in the top 1%. That puts us in the top 25 hospitals of those. In other words, what I'm trying to say is that when you feel that someone who has your back, like our patients do, you know that if you reach a point when you think that you can't do it, that day someone will be there to say, I got you. You can do this. And you already know the folly. Courage doesn't come from some deep internal fortitude, does it? You don't just dig down deep to find courage. Courage comes from the support and love that we feel from others. And personally, I feel it all the time. That's why I walk around here with a smile. I'm surrounded by it. It comes to me from our board and guild members. It cycles back from our team members and our volunteers. You that are Mary Free Bed's financial supporters, you're so much more than that to me. You're my beloved lifelong friends, and you know it. And our hospital partners, I care for your well-being and success as much as I do Mary Free Bed's. I wake up worrying about you as much as I worry about Mary Free Bed every morning. Beacon Health, Borges, Bronson, Covenant Health, Mercy Health, University of Michigan Metro, Munson, Sparrow, Spectrum Health. You are not just our partners, you are our brothers and sisters. You are not just our friends and financial supporters. You are my brothers and sisters. You are not just my staff and team members. I don't think of you that way. I think of you as my brothers and sisters. And my board in the guild, my board members in the guild, you are my brothers and sisters. And I'll tell you what, if my team says, oh yeah, he's the CEO, and they don't say, he's my CEO, he's my CEO, then I'm not the leader for Mary Free Bed. To each one of you in this room, Mary Free Bed has never been a job to me. Many of you know that. This is a mission and a passion. It's a mission and a passion, and you know why, for what it did in my family. So do you see why I'm always so grateful for each of you? Why Greg Conway once said, Ken, I've never met anybody in my life who's as grateful as you. You continue to thank us. Well, your being here makes it your life mission too. We each know that our mutual love of what we do for 45,000 people and their lives, we do it together. That is what binds us together. Our relationships make us into the communities that we need to be, and frankly, they save us from giving up, from holding back, and instead cause us to take bold, courageous action for others, right? All because someone says, I love you. And I do. This video is, of course, what we're all about together. And it says it all. So I'll let it do the talking. Thank you all.
He's very grateful.
Yes.
He's so thankful. He just sees everything in like a new light.
There's just a change about him.
It's really amazing because he's Malachi, but he's so much more than Malachi. It's so hard to even explain it.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Tomorrow's graduation day.
Yes.
I can't wait to find out what your purpose is in this life.
Me too.
I really can't wait.
Malachi, can you hear Mom? I need your eyes awake, buddy. We got to get those eyes awake. All we knew at the very beginning is he had an accident in St. Louis. At that time, he was not breathing and he had no pulse when they found him.
We spent, I think it was 13 or so days in ICU.
He had a traumatic brain injury called a diffuse axonal injury, and it was severe.
So I said, well, you know, he's as good as we're gonna get him, so you're gonna have to take him to a rehab now.
Tonight, we're going to do another video, which we have not did in quite a while. On Sunday, we had 4 or 5 people contact us and tell us about a place in Grand Rapids. We'd never heard of it before. The center is called Mary Free Bed.
You know, we never give up, and so we continue to medically manage him. His brain was keeping his body alive, but he wasn't able to interact with his environment at all.
My first goals with Malachi was to establish any kind of communication system, and we usually start with the yes/no.
Brain injuries are so variable, you can't say 100% what your outcome is going to be.
You know, the brain had to be,
Remapped.
you know, remapped, yeah, in essence.
And I was trying everything at that time to get him to kind of utilize a yes/no response system, and about 2.5 months later, that's where we really made that huge breakthrough with the kicking.
Very clearly remember when one of the therapists came in and said, you know, I asked him a question, and he kicked. So I asked him, kick over here if it's yes and over here if it's no, and he did it.
We had the idea that maybe we would utilize a yes/no communication system and place it in front of his legs, which is kind of the first modality that started to wake up. He started kicking a lot and being able to push up first.
Now can you kick the star?
That rejuvenated us and gave us some more hope, you know. And I think that's the biggest thing we felt here at Mary Free Bed, is that there's hope that you're not going to be what you were when you came.
Better than yesterday.
Every week we were seeing progress, and we build off of that, and with each week we add new goals and continue to work with them on their recovery and get them as far as they can get and as independent as possible before return home. He's come a long ways.
And without, you know, Mary Free Bed thinking and constantly challenging, you know, him to be able to do and see those things, I don't know where he'd be.
He looks at everything like, almost like, you know, with that child expectancy, and he's so excited.
And I've got a son, you know, where if what they had predicted, you know, it is my son, and he knows who I am, and he's in there and coming out with full force.
I'm going to get back up again, and I'm going to get back up again and walk.
How would you like to see that guy walk on stage? Malachi! That's for you, buddy.